Games new to me, please like and subscribe.
Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, arguably true masterpieces of what art in gaming looks and feels like. Beating any of the Souls games, including Bloodborne, has become a badge of honor and something that, quote, separates the casual gamers from the real gamers, unquote. But what makes a Souls game? Starting out with Demon Souls and moving forward to the original Dark Souls series, they were meticulously crafted games with tons of minor details. The environments told the story as much as anything, and little hints strewn around filled in some of the blanks. The worlds presented in all the Souls, and I include Bloodborne in this, games, have one major thing tying them together, that Miyazaki did brilliantly. He made all the worlds presented in the series as actual lived-in worlds, worlds that were there before you entered it, and will be there long after you leave. If you look carefully at the architecture of each level of the Souls games, you'll notice that there is always a theme, not an obvious one. The devil is always in the details. When paired with the unusual way the stories in these games are presented, it definitely makes sense. The Souls series is like one of those movies that you talk about weeks, months, and even years after seeing them. The non-linear storytelling is not for everyone. Many who pick up one of these titles cold and without knowing anything about the series may think that the games are just all atmosphere paired with a tremendous difficulty and a paper-thin story. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. Was this by design to weed out people who want something more linear and straightforward? I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past From Software and Miyazaki. Demon Souls and Dark Souls were not arguably the massive commercial successes you'd expect them to be. They were niche games that grew a very fierce and dedicated fanbase that really helped grow word of mouth about these games. Since the stories in these games are very detailed and only discovered through reading in-game item descriptions, and carefully detailed worlds that all fit like jigsaw puzzle pieces, one can be forgiven for, quote, not getting, unquote, why these games have such a rabid fan base. And since the stories are so detailed and hard to explain, the games started being touted as extremely hard. Games that are for that rare breed of gamer. I get it. It was an easy way to surmise the series in an easy offhanded way. This was to the benefit of the series as the games became a badge of honor and helped propel the mystique of the games and grow their fan base. I have no doubt that many gamers picked up a Souls game, got slaughtered by the first couple of enemies repeatedly, resulting in a broken controller and angry consumer who didn't, quote, get it, and never played the game in question again. Dark Souls and Bloodborne aren't like any other game where the first enemy you encounter is a pushover, and only the bosses were the test of skill. And even then, in many games, that's not even the case, as many of the bosses are pushovers too. Pair that with a narrative that is spelled out to the player in the title screens, and you quickly understand why the Souls series has frustrated so many. In all the Souls games, you are thrown into an unfamiliar world. You are given the absolute least amount of information about why you're in this world, and this information is presented in riddles and rhymes. You start the game in a world that is not there for you to conquer and feel good about yourself. In all instances of Souls games, you are thrown into a world where you are the most pitiful creature in the entire game. You are given a vague idea of what you are supposedly tasked with, and you are kicked in the pants and told to fend for yourself. I'm going to be making another video on the psychology of the Born Souls games that will be a perfect companion to this video. As the uninitiated player, you are now in a cold, ultra-violent world that doesn't care that you are in it. You are not the hero. You are not strong. You are not powerful. If anything, you are a worm in the world, and this world wants to grind you down, eat you up, and spit you out. So I understand fully why many gamers just gave up on the game. Simply put, nothing in the Born Souls games comes easy. Not even the full story of what is going on in this new and very imposing world. A case could be made that the Born Souls games are there to break you down before building you back up. Even everything you've learned from other games does not apply to the Born Souls series. In most mainstream games of the past, you were presented with a clear mission and you were expected to kill everything that you stumbled upon, without question. In those games, you are never going to be overmatched, and whatever you encounter, you should be sufficiently buffed to handle. Bloodborne and Dark Souls don't always follow this rule. In fact, they seem to go out of their way to break it. Let's look at the two most recent installments in these games, Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. In Bloodborne, the very first non-optional boss is Father Gascoigne. If you've never played any Souls games, and you wander into this boss's area, you are going to be punished and punished hard. What are you being punished for? You're being punished for not doing enough to explore the world before attempting to even look at Gascoigne. You haven't earned that right. If you had, you would have known to find the window with the little girl with the missing mother and father that she asks you to find for her. And if you agree, she gives you a music box. And that music box will aid you in your battle with Gascoigne. What? A music box is supposed to help me with the first boss? How does that make sense? Simple. This is the way you learn some of the early pieces of the story in Bloodborne. Something pivotal that will help you start to care about the inhabitants of this world. I have no doubt that many gamers didn't even bother to look for this window with the little girl because it isn't at all clear or in any way pointed out to you which window she's behind or how to find it. You're not informed. You have to explore. Bloodborne makes you earn everything, from the story to the massive sense of accomplishment that comes with eventually figuring out how to best Father Gascoigne. Trust me when I tell you this. I had such a massive endorphin high after finally surviving, and I do mean surviving, Father Gascoigne, that I felt like I was on top of the world. This feeling lasted for a very long time. When was the last time a video game made you feel like that? For the second example, let's look at Dark Souls 3. You come out of your grave, you are given some very vague information about what is happening in this world, and you are set on your way into the, quote, training area, which is populated with, by Soul standards, relatively docile enemies to learn the basics on. You might be feeling pretty good about now and figure you're doing pretty well. You take one wrong turn in the training area and you stumble across the crystal lizard that is going to kick your ass because you aren't ready for it. What? This is in the training area? Yeah, this is in the training area. But what is it teaching you? It's teaching you to know when to pick your battles, when to leave them alone, and when to come back when you're ready for them. Let's say you don't make that wrong turn. You progress. You light your first bonfire and kill all the enemies in the next area, and suddenly you find yourself facing a boss fight extremely early in the game. What? Just as you think you have his number and have taken him down to half his health, he transforms into a writhing black monstrosity that seems to have no rhyme or reason to its attacks. Trust me, there is a rhyme and a reason, and your job, first and foremost, is recognize and learn the patterns of this boss's attacks and abilities. In other words, in both presented examples, this is the start of what Souls fans call, quote, getting good. The Born Souls series is very meticulous in the way it presents the story, in the way it teaches you to play the games, and the way it tests you to actually expand your preconceived notions of how a video game can expand as you progress. Let's briefly talk about the difficulty of these games. Are they too hard? No, they aren't. They are very difficult, but that's not the same as too hard. What the Born Souls series of games got right, and did so from the very start, is that it was extremely fair to the player. Yes, the enemies are all deadly and many can one-shot you in a heartbeat, but you are given all the tools you need to defeat them. All you need to do is get good. With the responsiveness of the dodges and attacks and retreats, Born Souls is extremely fair as the movements, strikes, and evasions are extremely crisp and responsive. Very rarely do you find yourself fighting against the controls of your character, and that's where the fairness comes in. Since the responsiveness is so intuitive and so tight, the only thing you have to worry about is getting good at dealing with your enemies. In other words, if you die, and you will die a lot, the reason for your death was your own fault. There are rare exceptions, but by and large your life is yours to defend, and if you die it's because you haven't learned how to win yet. So why am I talking about all of this? Simple. I'm working on another video discussing the recent rush of, quote, Souls-like, unquote, games, and I needed to lay the groundwork for that video. I'll also be releasing a video about the psychology of born Souls games, and this helps lay the groundwork for that too. As soon as those videos get uploaded, I will update the description below with the links, and I hope you'll check them out. Bloodborne, Dark Souls, they have made me a better player. I owe so much to this series of games. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. If you enjoyed this video, please click that thumbs up button. YouTube has changed our algorithm, and interaction from you helps me and this channel immensely. To my subscribers, a million times thank you for being subscribers. The amount of support I feel from you guys is incredibly rewarding, and even though I'd be making videos even if nobody watched, it's an incredibly powerful feeling to know that my work is appreciated. For this, I am so deeply in your debt. If you just stumbled across this channel, this video, or me, won't you click that brightly colored subscribe button and give me a chance to win you over full time? You'll not only be helping grow a wonderful community of gamers, you'll not only have my sincere thanks, but most importantly, you'll always be notified whenever a new video goes up on the channel. This is Rob for Games Into Me saying, the Souls series is a very unique and special series of games for all the right reasons that I'd like everyone to experience fully. It made me a better gamer all around. Until next time, guys, be good to each other, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.